Joining me on the show is Roongta. He's CEO at ApnaPaisa. Thanks very much, Mr. Roongta, for joining us on the show. We have a caller on the line already. Let's find out who it is. It's Ramachandran, I believe, from Bangalore, who's calling us. Thanks very much for calling us here on Call UTVI. Please go ahead with your question, Ramachandran.
Yeah, good evening. First question, I have three questions in fact. The first question is in respect of the minimum charges.
Yes.
On cash withdrawal, that is 2% or minimum 300 rupees. Suppose if I draw 200 rupees, it is an exorbitant. Is it not excess? That is one question.
Right. I'll take one question at a time, Ramachandran. Let me just ask Mr. Roongta to answer this one about minimum charges. What do you have to say?
I think what Mr. Ramachandran basically means is the question on the charges applied if he withdraws cash from the ATM. I think clearly, Mr. Ramachandran, the charges on credit cards are high, whether it be withdrawal fee or service charge, or even the interest on the rollover amount. So if the charges are high, I think, and now the banks are required to be very transparent about it. So I think it is, as consumers, it is meant to be used only for emergencies. It's not meant to be used for your normal requirements. For your normal requirements, you must use your debit card or ATM card to withdraw cash.
Right.
And I think if the charges have been upfront, transparently disclosed, I think the question of it being exorbitant or otherwise does not arise. They are high, there is no question, but they have been conveyed as such.
Right.
No, actually, the interest on interest, it will be excess only. They cannot levy it.
Interest on interest is his question. So on that, what do you have to say, Mr. Roongta?
I think it is clear. Entire banking system thrives on interest on interest. So I mean, banks are all about compound interest, and I think now RBI has made it compulsory for the banks to give a working of how interest is to be calculated on your statements. So I think charges are high. As you mentioned, charges are high. I think the whole world knows it. Credit cards are meant to be used as payment instruments or for very temporary periods of time as credit for very short periods of time.
That's right, yes.
It is not a good instrument for long periods of credit.
That's right.
And clearly, RBI has no regulations on the maximum interest that can be charged.
Right.
They only require that the interest be approved by the board. Once it is approved by the board, that can be charged.
Right.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
And this is Shiv Kumar here.
Ji.
I have in fact, I have three questions. One is, recently I paid, I am using around 3 credit cards.
Yes.
And in one of my cards, it was said that my check got dishonored for rupees 3,000.
Okay.
And during that period, my account in my bank account was sufficiently funded for by around 60 to 70,000 rupees.
Okay.
And the banker said the instrument has got dishonored and you have to pay a fine of around 750 rupees.
Okay.
And I have given a letter stating that with all the proof from my bankers that
Right.
I have sufficient amount during that period.
Sure.
And that problem was sorted out, and they also reversed the fine in the subsequent bill.
Fair enough.
Okay. Number 2 is that I didn't get the check that which they say has dishonored till this time.
You haven't
How should I
got
get
the
the
dishonored check back with you.
Yes.
And how is this a problem?
Actually not dishonored, and the bankers say that. And I also proved to them that I have a sufficient fund, giving my 3 years of statements.
Right.
Banking statements.
Right. So you said you had enough funds, but your check was dishonored, and you still haven't got the dishonored check back with you from the bank.
Back. Yes.
All right, and you're wondering how to resolve this. Mr. Roongta.
The only practical way to resolve it is to put a stop payment on that check. If the apprehension is that that check may be put in again, I think the best thing is to put a stop payment from on the bank account from which this check has been issued.
Is a stop payment possible, Mr. Shiv Kumar?
Yes, sir. I've already done that.
Yes.
But still I want to get the check back.
Right. Is there any way that he can still get the check back?
I think we must appreciate that banks have a huge issue, operational issue in sending checks back. I think there are regulations that require the checks to be given back. I'm not 100% sure on this, but imagine, I mean, typically banks have centralized places from which they put in these checks. So getting one check out and sending it back is an operational challenge. We see this in a number of cases. So unless there is I mean, what is the loss? I think the key issue is what is the loss?
I was asking Mr. Shiv Kumar, is there any particular problem that you're facing by not getting the dishonored check back with you?
Nothing of that sort. And nothing, I don't face any such problem.
All right.
But I just wanted to know whether it can be got back or not. See, I was holding a credit card of HSBC.
Yes.
मुझे प्रॉब्लम उसमें ये हुआ कि फरवरी में वो उसका टाइम खत्म, इट एक्सपायर्ड.
यस.
और उसके बाद मैं आई एम ट्राइंग टू कांटेक्ट फ्रॉम लास्ट अबाउट से 1 month टू HSBC पीपल.
यस.
कि आई वांट टू सेटल माय अकाउंट्स.
जी.
सो व्हाट हैपेंड इज, मैं पहले जब कॉल सेंटर पे कॉल करता हूँ उन्होंने कलेक्शन सेंटर का नंबर दिया. अब कलेक्शन सेंटर पे आई एम ट्राइंग टू कॉल फ्रॉम से लास्ट अबाउट से 1 month टू 15 days. मुझे 3 या 4 बार अलग अलग उन्होंने ये बताया कि आपका कार्ड एजेंसी के पास है, ये नंबर ले लीजिए, बात कर लीजिए.
जी.
और आप मानेंगे नहीं, मैंने हर बार कम से कम 3 बार कॉल करके कम से कम मेरे पास अभी 10 या 12 नंबर इकट्ठे हो गए हैं जो उन्होंने दिए कि आप इनको कॉल कर लीजिए, ये एजेंसी के पास कार्ड है.
जी. आपका कार्ड एक्सपायर हो चुका है गिरीश जी, और आप कह रहे हैं कि आप इसको रिन्यू कराना चाहते हैं या यू वांट टू
अकाउंट सेटल करना है. मुझे
अकाउंट सेटल करना है और उनका रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आ रहा.
रिस्पॉन्स मीन्स वो लोग तो मुझे एक नंबर देते हैं, वो नंबर नहीं लगता.
So in any case you aren't able to resolve this card and you can't settle the bills you've got against your credit card.
हर बार मेरे को वो 500-600 रुपए जो उनका फाइन या चार्जेस है वो लगता जाएगा. एंड आई एम स्टिल नॉट गेटिंग थ्रू कि मेरे को ये किस व्यक्ति के पास या किसके पास जाके ये सेटल करना है.
Right. What does he do in a scenario like this?
The first thing you must do is stop talking on the phone. That doesn't serve any purpose at all. You go to the bank's website, there is a section on grievance, you put that grievance there, you get a reference number. Moment you put that into an official place, your meter starts ticking. Now within 2 to 3 weeks or a maximum of 4 weeks, if the bank either does not give you a response or does not give you a response satisfactory to you, you can file a complaint with the banking ombudsman.
Right.
And typically in our experience again at ApnaPaisa we have advised a lot of customers, and whenever they even threaten the bank that if this is not resolved and if it is not resolved we'll go to the banking ombudsman, that those 2 words are magic words.